Hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about, this is teaching number 3 on the PPP loan program, and do you have to repay the PPP loan. So the PPP loan stands for the Paycheck Protection Program, and we've done a few videos like what is a PPP loan, how much do I qualify for a PPP loan, and today we're going to do I have to repay a PPP loan. So basically, in terms of a PPP loan, it's based on what happens 8 weeks after the date you receive your funding. Now originally they had said whatever your application date was. So for instance, if you got a PPP loan on April the 15th, you didn't get it funded until the 16th. Originally they'd said you use the 15th as the date, but now on the repayment application it specifically says the date the money actually hits your account. So that would be, in that example, April the 16th. So it's 8 weeks following that date. You can use an alternative date if you want, which is a 56-day period from the funding of your loan. So those are the two things that you can do there. So the loan itself is going to have a maturity of 2 years and an interest rate of 1%. However, a portion of the loan could be completely forgiven. Basically, it converts into a grant is what it does, and the difference fully comes into an active loan. So during the 8-week period, it's really, the money's kind of sitting there. It's after the 8 weeks that really the money becomes the true loan that's not forgiven, and then the rest becomes a grant, is how that works. So basically, in terms of your money that will be forgiven, so it deals with payroll cost, and then it also, the amounts could be forgiven can be interest on mortgages, it can be rent and utilities. The payroll costs are specific in that you're talking gross payroll that's going to be on your W-3 box 1. And then it's also going to be if you're a sole proprietor or basically you're self-employed and you have no employees, it's going to be your net profit from your Schedule C, which is basically your gross income minus your expenses equals your net profit. And then that's going to be your aggregate gross payroll, and then from there you'll apply for your loan, which will be on the next video. I'll go over how to apply for the loan. So 75% of the funds, in order to be forgiven, must be used for payroll. And then the 25% can be used on interest on your mortgage payment. So it's not the mortgage payment itself, it's just the interest. It can be used on rent, it can be used on utilities. But what we're seeing here is, originally it sounded like everything would 100% be forgiven, but in certain circumstances it doesn't look like that's fully going to happen. I even did the calculator and did an example on the SBA website. And what it came out to was, I think it was a $50-some thousand loan, and $10,000 of it in that example that I did turned out to not be forgiven. So you do want to kind of look at that. There are specific things you got to be careful of. If a person makes more than $100,000 of compensation annually, then that's going to be a problem. And this is the cash compensation. So originally, when the PPP loans came out, certain institutions would say, we're going to basically gross up. We'll take the gross of the employee's wages, but we're going to add to it all the benefits that the employer pays. So if the employer pays your health insurance, they were adding that to it. If the employer pays, which they do, the other part of Medicare and Social Security taxes, we'll add that to it. And if your loan has not yet funded, if you've not received your money yet, you can actually, the SBA is allowing you to redo your application and get the proper amount of money that you need to get. So you are able to redo that application now that the SBA has put out further guidance of what things are not considered in total payroll. So those things are going to be like the employer contributions to defined benefit retirement plans or defined contribution retirement plans. So let's say you put in 3%, your employer puts in 3%, that 3% the employer put in will not be included as part of that gross payroll for your $100,000 per employee calculation. Also, payments for the provision of employee benefits like health insurance and things like that, if the employer pays that portion of the bill, then that is not considered part of your payroll. And then also payments for state and local taxes, assessed on companies for employees. Now, the SBA has not put out great guidance for this particular area, but from all the research that I've done, it looks like your employer is going to pay state unemployment taxes. That's not going to be included. So anything basically the employer pays is not included in a $100,000 calculation. So there is a special note here that I want you to understand. The EIDL advance that you got from the SBA is going to go against the amount that will be forgiven. Originally they had said that was not the case. It is going to be the case. And for self-employed people and self-employed individuals and company-owned employees, you cannot make during that 8 weeks more than $15,385 to be forgiven. So all the other amounts can be forgiven, and I'm going to go over a specific thing for forgiveness in another video. So thank you guys, and please continue to watch the other videos. Thank you.